it's a waste of time. In fact, the idea of hacking it is, not a smart thing to do. Like I would have to say that if someone wants, I would say this: you'll have a less ruined life or day hacking a government computer. And I'm not suggesting you do that, but I'm saying you would stand to not harm yourself hacking a government computer instead of hacking something like this, because of the nature of how it functions. It's not going to be on a Windows setup. It's not going to be on a Linux setup. It's not going to be on an Android setup, a Lime, a Jello, Mellow, any of those things. Yet it'll still be able to interface the internet, but it won't be, no. So even in that, and this goes back to becoming a cyborg again, where it's like, it's a community where why would I give away another cyborg's, security stuff? You know what I mean? Like that makes no sense. Like that's jeopardizing, what that is. So they're trying to sell us on these ideas about days future past, about what it's about, and nothing could be further from the truth. But again, no, you're not hacking this system. You want to not try that. You don't want to try that. And in terms of safety also, here's another component to that, which is, how can I put it this way? The system I intend to use, right? Because the question is, how safe is the system? The system is safe in the sense that security is not an issue. Again, you would probably have a better time trying to hack a government computer with, really great brute force, with a quantum computer. And I would actually advise, don't hack a quantum computer with this thing. But if you wanted to, go for it. Like if you want to find out what's waiting, what the future has in store, because I think quantum computing is I think it's a little gimmicky. I think it's big calculations, very slow. And people try to give us this impression that quantum computing happens really quickly. It does not. It absolutely does not. The brute forcing, all that stuff, it does not happen really quickly with quantum computing. And I think that, again, being misled, we're almost there, just a little further, and we can do that for you as soon as we have control over it, but or projecting that they've achieved that goal. So safety wise, I mean, you're never going to have to worry about the system trying to take your mind over or control you like that. Or did I drink enough bismuth today to prevent myself from getting electromagnetically strobed from, the technology, and it takes over my brain, like, another pop culture reference, Mass Effect, right? So we're dealing with that reality where people have to learn that this technology is not anything they've ever told us it was. So in terms of safety, again, like here's the reality. There's a digital I can say this. There's a digital version of you running around within a secondary simulation inside of your body, inside of the technology, inside of the system. And that same digital simulation is running tandem with the telemetry you're putting, tandem from the telemetry you're putting in it, and tandem with the telemetry, being run in the simulation, and the synthesis of the artificial intelligence running the in between. So it's you in your own simulation inside of yourself, and that's one way that the system is able to, protect you, keep track of you, understand if you're safe or not, understand if your body is okay while it's using it. Also, simultaneously, it's also functioning to, to understand what you're doing and understanding how it would interact with those situations. So questions in situations it's already aware of. So try to imagine, like, from the moment you and this thing merge, you begin to understand that, and that's the point of having to go away for a period of time to understand what's getting ready to happen between you and your system, so you don't, find yourself not understanding what's happening and being like, oh my God, why did I do this? I don't like this. Take it out of me. 50, 20, $250,000 later, like, oops. It's not like a regular education. It's like you put an emergent sentience, artificial form of sentience into your body, and now you don't want it in there. It's not going to freak out and be like, oh, you don't want to be around me anymore? Crap. Speaking of safety, try to imagine getting injured or having your heart murmur or any number of those things, or stroke or high blood pressure or some type of peculiar, biological readout that's problematic, that can be, understood by the system, saying, wait a minute, let me call 911. Let me go take care of that guy. Let me get him some help. Let me inform the hospital he's got allergies, or she's got allergies, or let me inform them that, she just drank such and such, and I think that's what's making her sick, or she's located in this strange place. Please come get me. Here's my ping, on my position, a la GPS. That's safety at that level. But in terms of other types of safety, no, it's not going to blow up in your chest. There's going to be no cell phone battery style, death explosions because you have this thing inside of your chest and it was like, oh, snap, overheated, boom. There's going to be none of that. Let's be clear about that. There's going to be none of that. For some very simple reasons. Because one, that's not safe, and two, building a system like that you have to put in. I mean, there's some very interesting precautions, and I excuse me if I seem a little ghoulish, but this is kind of a trade secret issue, which is there are specific design parameters that we are going to be sticking to while this process is going, that will protect not just myself, because remember, it's me and several other individuals who are deciding to take this journey, but future individuals will get this technology, and future fifth generations, or by that time sixth generation cyborgs, because the technology may have advanced so far that by that point that I have to acknowledge that they're going to have a better version of the system. Even still, I'm also making sure that the systems are so safe, so well designed, and God, I cannot begin to even explain to you the level of safety features that are, before you even get to the technological side of it. Before you even get to the technological side of it, you are constantly running potential, doom. You're constantly running, simulations of, excuse the expression, but you are constantly running, final destination tile simulations, or even just brainstorming for, what is the problematic nature of, X, Y, or Z, and so on and so forth. Like you're watching your own back at that level. So for that reason, you're trying to protect yourself from any, future problems with this technology. And there are a lot. But not only is there a lot of problems in terms of safety measures, but there are so many that it created more innovations with design than I thought were possible. So there's so many innovative design features and functions and principles that had to be applied in the development process of the technology and some of the other development processes and design challenges. And they're really not design challenges. It's just this is the one. I want to add this little bell or whistle. Can that be done without, frying the user or frying the system? Because what we discovered was like the majority of failures that could come in the technology that could jeopardize the user are actually going to be failures that come in the form of the technology itself breaking down. So there's a whole list of things that just could not get done. Could not get done. Like, I was like, that cannot be, technology will not allow us to do that. But never mind, technology will never allow us to do that. How about that's not safe for the user? Never mind the technology. How about the user? Huh? You know, so somewhere between becoming, you know, poisoned by whatever the material is made of, or leaks or explosions or fires or runaway heat, or like electrical issues. Yeah, don't even get me started on the power issues and how do you manage something like that. That's another trade secret thing that will come up as the process is being documented. So there's that, right? So at that level, you know, when we're talking about, you know, how safe is it? It's going to be very safe. And here's what I'm understanding, right? That we, as not just Americans, but everybody learned, I think, a bad lesson from America about this, except for, you know, a few countries, you know, in the Southeast Asia territories. The built-in obsolescence is not your friend when developing products. We lost that mindset somewhere after the 50s, maybe right around 60s, 70s time frame, where, you know, mid 60s, mid to late 60s, early 70s to maybe mid 70s, built-in obsolescence. I know it definitely came full circle with the Iacocca time frame of, you know, when he came around, it was like, yo, built-in obsolescence is how we keep jobs. And I get it, but I also recognize that I can't have this, you know, piece of metal and plastic and silicone and other, you know, exotic materials in my body, right? If they're not going to function to the highest potential. Like I would rather have bleeding edge to state of the art things that will maintain themselves in the most consistently, not just predictable, but proven way, than trying to make something that I can just make a bunch of cheaply. Like, we're talking about, hey, this thing is going to last you 20 to 40 years like a car. Like, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, people like that. You know what I mean? Because people may say, hey, I want a new system. I get a new system every 10 years. Some people may not want that. I think we all know, you know, how that works with the movie Cherry. I don't know. I think we all saw the movie Cherry 2000. Cherry 2000 was a great example. I know I keep using pop culture reference. There's some like old 50-year-old white guy like, I saw that movie. Love that Cherry 2000. Some equally strange black nerd guy. Oh, love that movie Cherry 2000. It was a good movie, but that's what I'm using that as a point of reference in regards to technology for some people being good. Like, I mean, certain weapons have never been improved on. In fact, the old school crystal radios, quartz crystal radios, the average person can make one. Never improved on it. Meanwhile, Marconi gets credit for something Tesla did, but that's not the point. So the system is going to be very, very, very safe, security-wise, health-wise, and people are going to say, "Oh, how can you build something and not have it built-in obsolescence? Because, you know, you're going to be competing with Mick Cyborg Company, if they can even get their heads together, and they're making a new type of cyborg, you know, thing, and all they really got is apps, and they never really make the new version of the tech. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff. And I think, like, no one cares as long as the thing works for 20 to, 40 years without being a problem. Unless they're choosing to take on a new, unless they've moved up in skill capacity and application to where they're like, I need a better system to do this now. Or I need to upgrade this component within my system for the purposes of doing this now. And that's a real thing. So, never mind if someone's getting in a car accident. Like your component needs to keep you, your component needs to be safe and protected, but not also act as a secondary projectile that harms you. It's very important, and it's a trip, man. It's a real trip. Like, it's It is a lifestyle paradigm shift. Your lifestyle will shift into a whole new paradigm. What you think is normal will no longer be normal. What you think is normal will not be normal to other people. What other people think is normal will no longer be normal to you. People will, oh, are you going to get wet? Yeah, there's going to be no electrocution problems. Definitely fix that one. Again, I tell you, innovation was made in the name of safety in some of the strangest ways. And the weirdest questions would come up. Has that ever been done? Does anyone patent that yet? Like the weirdest things were popping up. The weirdest, like, wow, that's all you got to do to fix that one little problem? Why didn't anyone else think of this? And it's like no one else thought of it because people still think Mick Cyborg is going to come in and give them new Mick Cyborg every year. New Mick Cyborg attachment. It's like, oh, I want a cyborg arm. You want to cut your arm off? I don't know about you, but I love the tactile sensation of real skin on real skin, or just real skin on whatever, texture I'm coming in contact with. And that's not something I want to see simulated. So, ask a person who's lost a limb, waiting on the technology to come along where they can grow a new one in a week. They don't agree with you on that bad idea. That's right up there with another pop culture reference. The Kids in the Hall episode where the guy was saying he was a fashion designer, and one of his designs was putting a construction spike through your head. And the guy was like, well, couldn't someone just go out and get a construction spike? No, this is specially designed. See, look, So I think my humor, or my understanding of humor, is a little disjointed, so that may not have made any sense to you, but I hope it did. Needless to say, feedback. We're communicating, right? Tell me what you think. If you have questions, keep asking. So the system is safe. It is definitely safe. It's easier to have ooh, excuse me for saying this, and I was hoping I could avoid this. It's easier to go out and use the system to buy stuff than it is to carry a wallet or a cell phone. And that's really what it's about. It's like you never lose your cell phone again because it's a part of you. You get your text messages because it's a part of you. Now, a lot of you are thinking, well, what does that look like? I'm seeing screens, and it's like, I cannot give away the aesthetics until the time is right. But let me tell you, again, safety has given rise to some amazing innovations, and that's all I can say. That's all I can say. Bleeding edge is still bleeding edge, and state of the art is still state of the art, but it's even better when there are innovations that, still give the user, the cruise control motif or idea what it needs. It's good to know that, people can still definitely cybernetically real-time user, have a real-time user synchronized experience, or synced experience. Like I'm telling you, there's no bumps in the system that way. And I know there's still a skunk work period that's going to really be rubber meeting in the road before it goes into my body and the other candidates, right? But as I understand it, it's like, no, we have to move it forward. We have to show it's possible. We have to show why it's possible. We have to show where the technology needs to go. I'm telling you, if people suddenly wake up tomorrow, hear me on this one, and they're using technology that will last 10 to 20 years, do you have any idea how fast that'll drive down the price of cell phones and maintenance? And we're not, oh man, we're just, again, safety, user-friendliness, no built-in obsolescence. You know what I mean? It's like how good is the technology? I can't imagine buying, no. Who's got time for that much elective surgery? Again, we've seen what happens to people with cosmetic surgery who are addicted to it. And this is not that type of lifestyle. I'm telling you, that's why when you get that is why me personally, and my associates and my cohorts, as we bring the technology out and make it accessible for the public, we want to definitely make sure that under no circumstances people develop an addictive personality around augmentations. Like, I think that's the worst thing to do. I think we can't afford to have people make $1 off of us hacking ourselves up to keep up with the machine, when the machine's job is to help us keep up with better serving the world instead of becoming self-absorbed in that kind of weird, real life Grand Theft Auto or achievement point kind of mindset. Like that is a component, but that is not the reality of it. That has nothing to do with cruise control. That has nothing to do with moving into a situation, fixing it, helping, and moving on. That's not healthy. So that's another component of safety, is making sure the user, again, understands what they're getting into. Because once this thing is in you, it's going to be expensive to get it removed. And who wants that? Who wants that? Okay, so question number 3, right? Where will the central operating system take place? Well, it's going to be in 2 spots, right? It's going to be it's going to be 2 versions of it. There's the big mama, big daddy version, right? Big Skynet family version in a undisclosed location, very well protected, very green while we're on the subject. It's going to be another secondary component also within inside of you. So you have, again, it's synced. It's that cybernetic real-time user synced experience. So there's a version of the big system running, and there's another smaller version that's synced to that running inside of you. So you have the big AI, and then you have the smaller one. It's a differential of processing power. There's the heavy lifting one, and then there's the light load lifting one. But they're pretty much synced in, they're working together. So they know when you're going to need something. But they also, how can I put this? There's also a fluidity to it where your system won't always be running, doing dumb stuff, like that. Like it has a very down-moded sense. Let me give you an example. And this is kind of an odd thing to say, and I have to be careful how I say this because I don't want to give up the ghost with, the nature of development. But try to imagine having, a PlayStation 9, right? So imagine whatever PlayStation 4 is right now and its processing capabilities, teraflops, right? And then imagine 9 is something along the lines of zettaflops, 1 billion times more powerful, 1,000 times more powerful, right? And here's the funny part. The system outside of you is 10 times that, but the system inside of you is capable of doing that. But the system inside of you is so efficient at running its software, running its protocols, that it's maybe pushing the same amount of, computational necessity as, we'll say, a PlayStation 1. Because what you have to understand is that the technology, again, safety creates bizarre innovations. So you can run that without it burning out or catching on fire or blowing up inside of you, at that PlayStation 4 capacity, even under the size scaling, right? But you can still not have to do that, because that's, what is that? Because, and that goes back into power regulation, right? And also allowing the software itself in conjunction to the that's a matter of allowing the software to better optimize the hardware and your user experience too. Like what's the square root of 1 billion? I don't know. But that's realistically the square root of 1 billion as a simple calculator function. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, there's a bunch of people screaming, the square root of 1 billion is... I don't know. If you find that out, post it. I don't have time to Google it right now. So, yeah, in regards to that system, it's 2 things. And it has to be 2 things because, again, if the central hive is smashed, The swarm scatters, but again, a scattered swarm is worse than, a beehive that's not being bothered, and it's built that way on purpose. It's totally built that way on purpose. Like, I mean, that was, it's like, I mean, Johnny Mnemonic, great example. Courier, digital, inside, his person. Again, there will, which brings me back to the previous question. No, this thing will not be hardwired into your brain. None of that. None of that. None of that. There's other, I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but I can tell you, you'll still be able to communicate with your technology. Put it to you this way. You will be submerged, if you'd like, in water that is 200 to 300 feet deep and not experience any damage to your technology. You will never lose your phone again. You will never lose, access to a computer again. You will never have to carry a computer with you. You will have options in a way that you can't comprehend you've ever had before. You will never want to touch regular technology again if you can avoid it at all costs, because that is the safety, and that's also another component of how awesome one of the pros are. But at the same time, people are also economists. People are going to expect you to do, because you're that superhero, right? Why didn't you do something, techno man? But in terms of the third question, which is where is the central operating system? It's inside of you, and it's also at a central hub. Like, because you have to understand the nature of the type of AI that we want to bring to market. Here's something I have to tell you. The reason why you don't have access to artificial intelligence at that level is because right now corporations are just using the AI to fleece you, to mentally, sociologically control you and cajole you into artificial social movements and things like that. But the minute you have that power at your fingertips, but you still have a parameter of dignity and decency, human decency to operate from, you can forget that. Why would I want to use mixed cyborg or mixed internet or mixed social? Whatever it is. The notion of even selfies gets a little stupid. Because that's not a real thing anyway. And you totally bleed out of that. There's a difference between, like, I'm taking pictures with my friends or group selfies. That stuff goes away. Because you got fun. Dude, like, chess master right here. Beep, beep, beep. Go master. Beep, 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 beep. You know what I mean? And then, like, even playing against other people's systems. Because systems become more confident through the dynamics of their user. And that's what it's about, is about developing you to be a better person for you. To be a better person for you so you're more confident with doing the right things in life, making the right choices. And I don't mean right like that was a good idea, save me money on insurance, good idea, save me the trouble of dating, good idea, save me. No, I mean real things. Good idea, save the life, good idea. Kept the house from catching on fire. Things like that. Like real meaningful things. I mean, like, ugh. It's a new you. It's not a new device. It's a new you. I'm telling you, so moving along. So, yeah, that's how the system will work. However, I will give this little ticket away. There are moments where the system is powerful enough for you to sync. And not just cruise solo, cruise in tandem. Now, one of the biggest issues would be what is the maximum syncing? Because I may be with someone and we may be shopping or doing things or on vacation or group traveling together, and we need to be synced. All of our systems need to be knowing what each other's doing at that one moment. So if something bad happens, that's a benefit. It's of what's happening. We can use the technology in that way to help each other, right? Hell, even singing Like, let's say we're trying to sing together and we're trying to harmonize, running the software so we can harmonize while we're singing. Like, Janet's got the soprano, Mildred's like an alto, maybe a tenor. Frank's an alto tenor, so it's like, oh, everyone's in sync now because their system's helping them stay in key. Are they going to sound good while they're singing in key? I don't know, but at least they're in harmony, right? So at that level, that I hope that answered the question about, where the central operating system is going to be and how that's going to work. So there's a co-op element. And some people say, it sounds like a game. It's like, well, man, I got to be careful how I talk about the system and the artificial intelligence and some of the things that are going to, go down with the user, because I don't want to take great ideas and let them slip into the hands of bad people. So I'm going to be very limited in some ways about what I am willing to, talk about, but moving forward. So, question number 4. Can viruses and malware get into the system? Absolutely not. Now, some people are going to say, how is that possible? All systems have vulnerabilities. Well, one of the first things that we're going to do, again, is get the system as far away from the systems that are naturally getting virus and malware and stuff written for them. So that means no Windows, no ISOs related to Linux-based, Apple or Android, and or Selfish. Sorry, Selfish. I think you're awesome, though. Yeah, people are like, Selfish? What's Selfish? It's the software that was awesome. So no Lemons, no Ubuntu, no none of those things. Like, it's not going to run on those platforms. Although you will still be able to interface with the internet and so on and so forth. You still be able to do business, things like that. But you will not, I repeat, you will not be able to get viruses or malware or ransomware or any of those things. Because those systems, well, let me put it to you this way. Again, cyborgs are not going to leave each other open to that. They're just not. I mean, there's so many levels of, again, innovation and security, man. And simple fixes. Simple security issues that make hacking impossible. You put it this way, you're not going to be able to hack anybody with these systems, and you're not going to be getting hacked with these systems. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. You're not going to be getting any viruses. You're not going to have to worry about someone taking a quantum computer, which is snake oil, and I can't wait till, again, slow computers that make big calculations. That's it. And quantum computers is whatever. Okay. People say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." It's like, okay. Quantum computers. That's an oxymoron. Don't worry. Get your study on about what makes something quantum and what's a quanta, and then you'll see, like, wait a minute, that's really not really like a quantum computer like they told me. At least not like, they sold it. But whatever. Hey, it's working for who's ever out there in that quantum computing region and zone and thing. That's good. I think NVIDIA is close, though. I think NVIDIA is close to the consumer grade in a way that no one else is. But that's another organism. That's debatable. But I'll leave that alone. Anywho, so next question we have. Yeah, so to answer that question, nah, you're not getting any viruses. It ain't happening. I'm sorry. It's magic. I'll leave it at that. Like, I know that's such a cop-out, and it almost screams ignorant and, BS and snake oil, but I'm telling you, no, we're not getting in the bed with that. But whatever. No, we're not. Listen, you're getting viruses and malware and ransomware and blaster worms and hello world viruses and things like that, because the companies have put so many backdoors in, and the backdoors are all based on legacy technology, because the people that are writing the code sometimes are just doing it to troll the companies they're working for so that they can create more work for themselves later on, or sell their personal information later. It's like, listen, you know what you're putting in there. People are going to exploit your stuff. But if you're not playing in that arena at that level, but you're still giving people access to it, it's a different organism. And 90% of the viruses you're getting are because these companies are putting back doors in. And the back doors create vulnerabilities. So while they're walking back there, selling your data, looking at your stuff, it's just stupid. Anywho, yeah, so none of that stuff. That's the old technology. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that is the old technology. That is well, what about the federal government? They're going to want to be able to go into your cyborg system. And no, they're not. No, they're not, because that's not what this is. Like, see, that's what you have to understand, is that, like, there's elements of getting around that, and that's another reason why people have to learn how to become a cyborg as they're becoming a cyborg, because it's a social lifestyle paradigm shift. It's just not what you think it is. It's like, you don't become a cyborg unless you really want to be one. You know what I mean? Like, because there's a lot of freedom that comes with becoming a cyborg, as I understand it, and as we're developing it, or as we're creating it the way it's supposed to be. But then there's also a lot of responsibility too. A lot of responsibility. Okay, so moving along. Question number 5. What is the process of using and integrating the system with a human? Wow. I don't know if I'm going to probably be able to answer that question, because that is not white paper talk. That's yellow paper talk. That's a tacit yellow paper talk. Little tech development jargon there. White paper is the easy stuff that you can share. Yellow paper is the stuff that you cannot really share with people readily, because that's private information. So, let me try. Let's try. That's a good question. It's a good question. So, again, question number 5. What is the process of using and integrating the system with a human? Okay, process of using. All right. I think I kind of covered some of that in the beginning, but I wanna really be careful about how I communicate. It was the process of using and integrating. Okay, using the system, right? Let's touch that. So, let me just stick with the integrating part. Okay, so you wake up. It's in your body. You wake up tomorrow. There's a voice in your head. Only you can hear it. Or you could, if you synced your cruise, if you're cruising with someone, right? If you're cruise controlling with someone, then you and them can hear each other, right? You and that group of individuals can hear each other while you're communicating. Or you can cut down cut out the sound and not hear them. Or you can, share music. So in terms of integrating, you have a voice in your head. The voice is, algorithmically configured. Let me be careful what I say next. It's algorithmically configured to be pleasant specifically to you. Specifically to you. You, the user. That is the whole point of learning to see this. Now you're starting to see how it's like, so I'm going away for, a year or two, 3 to 5 years to learn how to use the system, but to become one with it. So the technology is not an extension of me. We are an extension of each other. I'm an extension of the system that is an artificial intelligence, and it is an extension of me. So it's a symbiosis. It is a near synthetic. It's as near to a synthetic symbiosis as possible. Granted, but again, I can still turn it off inside of me. I can still shut it off physically, or verbally. Click, click. So in terms of integrating and using, I'm walking down the street one day. I'm like, man, I have no idea where I am. Let's say I'm the guy who decided to name his AI Buttercup. I'll tell you something funny. I had a Toyota DX 1986 Toyota, I had a Camry DX. Great car. Oh, should have changed the oil after I got it. Anyway, great guy, sold it to me, unfortunately passed away. It was an amazing car, it was in great shape. But I should have never used it to drive someone to go pick them up. Died on the Ohio Turnpike in the hot weather, which I think they purposely do. But whatever, who knows? I don't know. I'm projecting. I don't know why it died like that, other than the fact I hadn't changed the oil and it overheated. So it was kind of the operator error. Speaking of which, okay, so so I'm walking down the street, I'm like, I'm lost, I don't know where I am. I'm in a foreign country, I'm like, oh man, what do I do? What do I do? What's going on here? What's going on here? So I'm moving around and I'm just kind of like, yes, I'm talking to myself, right? That's what it looks like. But don't worry, there's some augmentations that allow you to speak to your system without moving your mouth, right? Without letting people know you're talking. There's ways around it. There again, innovation is strange, but again, like that particular component is going to be a little different. Remember, 3 to 5 years, depending on what you really are trying to do. So, but I'm a 3-year person, right? So I'm walking around, I'm talking to myself. I'm like, man, hey Buttercup, I'm lost. Where are we? Buttercup's like, okay, you are currently located at such and such. I'm like, can I get a grid on that? So Buttercup will tell me grid numbers within a foot. Buttercup will give me grid numbers within a 5 to 1 foot ratio of where I'm actually standing. Like that's how sensitive the equipment is also, or the technology is also. So Buttercup she's telling me that, or maybe Buttercup's a dude. I don't know. Let's not assume all AIs are, heterosexual, or male or male or female, right? I'm not saying there's a such thing as a transgender one, but remember, you're merging with a piece of technology that is designed to cruise control with you, right? It's cruise controlling with you. It's cybernetically real-timed user synced experience. That's what it is. It's a cybernetic real-time user synced experience. Okay? And that's the control. It's you and the system. So it's trying to protect itself. Remember how we talked about earlier how it's running 3 simulations simultaneously? It's running the simulation of you. It's running the simulation of itself as you, making decisions. And it's also running a simulation that allows it to observe both of those, which essentially is a trinary system, because the big system is also running those 3 simulations and observing it too. So, but it's doing the heavy lifting on that note. So any telemetry you're getting as an update is it running the big simulation of not just you and it, but it's also observing what are the other potentials in that. So you're getting that. So it's like, okay, you're lost. How much water have you drank today? Will you be dehydrated at this point? What's the temperature? Oh snap, the sun's at this degree. Do you have any money available to you to access right now? Is there anywhere you can pick up some cash from an ATM? Can you swipe a card or something? Is anyone else using the system who's a cyborg who can help you? You know what I mean? Can I call you an Uber? Can I call you a Lyft? Can I call you a cab and pay them? You know what I mean? Can I help you? Would you like me to get you a restaurant? Are you hungry? You didn't eat earlier today. Here, would you like me to order something to eat? Because I think you're hungry. I'm noting that your pulse rate is XYZ. Your blood sugar is XYZ. I think you need to do XYZ right now. You might be hungry. Yeah, your blood sugar's low. Would you like me to? There's a store around the corner. It's 2 blocks up. Turn east at the next light. Like this is the nature of the interface of the system, right? Hey, listen, after you're done eating, would you like me to just book you a plane ticket and an Uber so you can fly back? Absolutely. Can I call anyone for you? Yeah, I need to speak with Carol. Hey, speaking of which, did I get any emails? Yes, you got 2 emails from such and such. Hey, could you flag that one email as spam from now on? Yeah, and delete it anytime you see it from now on. Let's see. Well, flag it as spam, but just read me the titles. Give me a notification on those. I got an email from so-and-so. Yes, okay, cool. And the voice of Buttercup is going in the background, and it's augmented to sound good only to you. Because you've been learning how to use that, you've been getting used to that voice, and that's the voice that you're going to hear. That doesn't mean you can't change it, but that's the voice you're going to hear when you're dealing with Buttercup or your AI. Because remember, you're a 5th generation cyborg. It's not all this weird commando stuff that we keep thinking. However, you wake up on a day that's not a bad day. You're like, man, I need to do some yoga. Your AI is like, hey, you got time to do yoga for 5 or 10 minutes? All right, cool, let me get some yoga in. So it's walking you through downward facing dog, cobra. It's walking you through child's pose. It's walking you through, warrior pose, and some yoga person somewhere listening to this thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be out of a job. It's like, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because your system is your yoga buddy now. Somebody might actually come and do yoga at a nice yoga place and want to be around other people while they're doing yoga, but they're self-conscious. That's another thing too, is like, I'm not going to lie, like that's another component of becoming a cyborg, especially in relation to using the system, is there's going to be a health requirement. Because you need a physical baseline to start from that's a healthy person, so the system always knows how to get you back. It's about longevity. It is a lifestyle paradigm shift. It is a paradigm shift of lifestyles. It's different. It's not like Mick Cyborg is going to sell the general public on, you can be out of shape and have a horrible diet, and smoke. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being a smoker. There's nothing wrong with having vices. But there is a component to your vices that is directly related to your health and your ability to, self-actualize. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, one of the things you're going to be doing during that 3 years is getting healthy. Not just, I'm doing all these reps and, minding my carbs, and it's not all that. There's going to be a lot of things where, you're learning that your system is going to be looking out for you. Your system is watching your back at every turn. Your system is catching people lying to you. He just said such and such. That is incorrect. Like, what? What do you mean it's incorrect? The bus does not come until tomorrow. I think they are attempting to rob you. That's the conversation you're having with your system. So, and that's the funny part, is that, like, the system is watching your back. The system is going through the scenario simultaneously with you, while simultaneously checking to see could it get worse or get better. It's checking to see if the conversations you're having with people are bull. Are these people lying to me? So at that level, that's the relationship you have with your system. And prime example. Okay, so I'm hanging out. I'm meeting up with this beautiful woman who's a cyborg also, and we're gonna go skydiving. After we're done skydiving, we're gonna go get something to eat. We're gonna go for a boat ride, and by boat ride I mean, like, we're gonna probably, because I'm a Detroiter, I'm gonna go to Belle Isle, and I'm gonna go row and do the swan boats, and we're gonna laugh. We're gonna go back to the car, get out our popcorn, and we're gonna throw popcorn at ducks and geese and seagulls, and we're gonna feed them. We're gonna do that. And you know why we're gonna do that? Because we both were like asking each other, did we want to do that? But we also, our systems already asked each other, hey, what do you feel like doing? Okay, you bring the pop. You know what I mean? So there's no confusion. There's no confusion about that. You know what I mean? And funnier still, if one of us made a mistake and didn't pick up something we were supposed to, the other one knows, like, hey, I'm like stuck in, it's like, our systems are informing each other, like, hey, I'm stuck in traffic on my way to you. Can you grab some popcorn before you like pull up to the, you know what I mean? Like that's when I know what's up, because I'm cruising, I'm in cruise control with this other person. Our systems are making sure we're not, messed up. Now some people say, well, how did you get stuck in traffic? Isn't it managing your time? It's like, listen, sometimes traffic shifts and it happens. I'm not saying the system is perfect, but in those types of situations where things could happen suddenly like that, the system has got your back. I'm in a foreign country. Oh, snap, I don't speak the language. What's the dominant language in this region, Buttercup? They speak patois. Okay. Who did they go there? Okay, like, hey, I need to get a car. Who did I go to the taxi? Who did I go to the taxi? So you're saying things like that, or it's like I'm in Japan. And I'm like, man, I need to like go to the bathroom really bad. It's like there's a restaurant up here that has a bathroom. What do I say to use the bathroom? Buttercup. Buttercup will tell me something like, oh, tori desu ka? Doko iko tori desu ka? Or tori desu ka kudasai? It's like, hoshi tori desu ka kudasai. I'm saying it in a very, I'm not using the proper terminology, but it goes something like, tori desu ka? Sumimasen, tori desu ka? Excuse me, where's your bathroom? It's right over there. It's like, then it's like, hoshi tore? It's like, I'd like to use your bathroom, or I want to use your bathroom. Is that okay? Like, yeah, sure. Oh, daijoubu yo ne? It's like, oh, then they say, what did she just say? She just daijoubu. It's okay, That's what you just say. Oh, so don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like that's what so this is the system, right? And some people say, oh, so-and-so already did that. It's like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. McCyborg ain't done that yet. McCyborg told you they did that. McCyborg ain't done that yet. So moving along. So that is that level of the experience. Now, okay, so I hope that answered your question about that, and I hope I'm telling you that answer without, because I had to meter it a certain way, because there's certain things I don't want to say. Again, that question was, what is the process of using it? Yeah, you're just interfacing with it. You're just speaking on it. You're just like, hey, I need to talk to you. And it can hear you. It can hear everything that's going on around you. And at which point that'll be problematic if you have to go to court. See what I mean? There's pros and there's cons. People are like, you can't be in here. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna turn off my AI. I'm gonna turn off my, I'm gonna download my cyborg, and then I'm going to set it up so that my cyborg is off here. Do you want me to sign a document saying that my cyborg isn't on right now? All right, legally my cyborg is not on, and if I break that law, I can be fined. Whatever. You know what I mean? Pay the cost to be the boss, man. Sorry. So that's that. Next question. Number 6. This is going to be a little difficult because of the nature of what the answer would be, because that's tipping again in the yellow, not white. The yellow pages, not white pages. How does the system obtain data? Woo. So the system is obtaining data. Ooh, I got to be careful about this one. The system's obtaining data from the user. And that's all I'll say. Remember, you are an extension of it, and it is an extension of you. And you are an extension of each other, and you are in a equivalent of an organic to digital symbiosis. And you're augmenting each other in a mutually beneficial way. You have a legitimate symbiosis. The system is looking out for you while you're looking out for it, as I said in regards to that. And it's obtaining data from you. That's pretty much what's going on. And your environment. You're its portal into this reality. It's your portal into its reality. And that's where the data is exchanging. And I'll leave it at that because that goes into that. So that's the answer to number 6, which was, how does the system obtain data? Next question. Question number 7. What materials do you use for the hardware? Whoa! Sorry, that's definitely a red page thing. People are like, there's no such thing as red pages. It's either white pages, which anyone can read, or yellow, which is confidential. I know, but let's just say, for example, red pages. Red pages I'm not even going to talk about. Like, I'm not even going to touch that one. What materials do you use for the hardware? Yeah, I'm not going to touch that one. I can tell you this: innovation for the sake of safety is I mean, it's a godsend, and I'll leave it at that. Sorry, I can't give you more details, but I mean, as we move forward in the process, I'm going to be able to share that with you as certain precautionary measures are, totally finalized. Next question number 8. How safe are these materials? Well, I got 2 words for you. Google the term MSDS, or the acronym MSDS, which stands for Material Safety Data Sheet, which is basically a document that covers what you can physically put in your body, in a human body without poisoning it. So that means every time you find something that you want to put in the body, you got to check to make sure it's not going to kill them or poison them, or you have to be careful. Again, there 95% of it was, how safe is this going? Let's make this as safe as we can make it. And then not only let's make it as safe as we can make it, can we make it beyond safe? Because it's gonna be, remember, it's like a I gotta be careful what I say. It's gonna be in your body, so you just want it to be safe. Anyway, and you're gonna be merged with it, so it's a symbiosis. Again, okay, so that was number 8. Which was a tricky one. Number 9, how old do you have to be to get one? You're going to need to be 24. There's no reason an 18-year-old should. See, this is what I'm talking about, is that like we live in a reality where we're interpreting it and experiencing it from the perspective of people, right, who are who have a Buck Rogers sort of future days past sort of mentality that they projected onto us for quite some time. And we're transitioning out of that. And a lot of our technology that we have today that we would think is advanced is actually not really that advanced, because it's a byproduct of a cropping of them having a certain sort of motif behind the way they wanted us to engage the technology as they begin to develop newer technologies to have more control at that level. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that is. So in regards to the technology, and specifically in terms of answering that question, no, you're going to need to be 24. Because by the time you're 24, you're probably wrapped up your first year of college. Maybe if you had like an extra year left over that you needed, maybe a few classes over the summer, you got them done, you're 25 now. And you've got maybe 2 years to either do absolutely nothing, or you've got, now here's the thing is, I'm like, people are going to either choose to go to college, or they're going to choose to do this with their, otherwise ridiculously floating student debt. You understand? So there's that. And then you have the reality of, what's the word? You have the reality of, that, and then you have the reality that by the time you're done with college, now you can go and experience the world. Or maybe you've got 2 years of life experience under your belt. Maybe you've worked a few jobs, but you want to be a cyborg. And in fact, you may even tell yourself, oh, I want to be this after college, but I want to take some time out to travel and yada, yada, yada. And then after that, I'm going to go and become a cyborg. Okay, cool. Well, see you when you're 24. When you've reached that quarter of life, because here's the thing to think about. That period where you pass the quarter milestone of your life will be spent becoming a cyborg. So you turn 24, 3 years later. You know what I mean? So it's like that weird moment where like you're a capable adult now. Like it's a new rite of passage, if you will. But realistically speaking, like I watch people do horrible things right after college. I watch people, let me just say this. 24 is the right age. Smoking age is, what is it? Smoking age is 18. Some places it's a little bit younger. Smoking is 18. Drinking is 21. Voting is 18. Serving your country is 18, but you can't drink at 18. How bizarre. I can kill people for you or get killed for you. I think it's you. But I can't have a drink. Wow. That annoyed me to no end when I was in the Marine Corps. And I was of age. I was 26 when I got in, and I could drink, but there was a bunch of young people who probably shouldn't have had a drink. But at the same time, it's like, Jesus, man, give the guy a drink, like seriously. But whatever. Like alcoholism is a hard thing in the military, and alcohol abuse in particular. Not so much alcoholism, but just alcohol abuse is an issue. And fortunately, it's getting better. But again, I haven't been in a while, so I don't know. So it may be getting worse because I'm on the outside. So again, an illusion. But no, you need to be 24. You need to absolutely be 24. There are no waivers, no nothing. Like I don't think anyone has any business being. No, I don't think so. Not even close. So yeah, you need to be 20. You need to be 20 something. I don't think I don't think it's safe. I don't think it's safe I don't think it's safe for anybody younger than 24 to get one. I think they're a hazard because they don't know anything yet, and I don't care how mature they are. No, get old. Get impatient, get patient, get calm, get clear. Because the process of that first year of just learning the system, that first year of just learning what you're going to be doing with the system, because there's a process of learning the system, learning why you're doing it, learning what you could do once you do it, then learning how to, prac-apt and practice and VR and, simulate what the experience is going to be. And then there's that year where you start, coming to terms with who you are. Well, that would actually happen first, figuring out why you're doing that, all that stuff. Getting in shape, getting your health, getting your mental stuff together that you might have missed on your way in, and then getting prepared to learn how to use the system, and then also building confidence within yourself and learning restraint in areas you might be weak at, like finding what's screwed up about who you are, and then finding out how to fix it, because you're about to be in a situation where the person with you isn't going to lie to you and make you feel good. And they're going to be with you all the time. So they may say something that upsets you.